mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago
No,
where you
thanks.
can turn. It's this one. We're AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning. Amy Jacobson here. John Anthony in for Dan Proft.
Hey.
And I think it was Tuesday's city council meeting got a little heated when William Kelly was able to speak during the public speaking comment of the day, and he gave Mayor Lightfoot a goodbye message.
Future historians are going to have a hard time understanding how you ever even became mayor of the city of Chicago. I intend to write that book. I intend to make sure that at least there is some possible way for the city of Chicago to move forward. I hope that you realize what damage you have done to the city. I hope that after today's city council meeting, you will pack your suitcase and get the hell out of my city.
Ooh.
Mr. Kelly, you are a pandemic. You are a pandemic. Thank you.
He went on to say, you shut down small businesses, you shut down our schools, you shut down our churches. And then she's yelling, but it was a pandemic. So,
but she took his
she took his press pass.
just like you've had to deal with that.
I think I work for a FCC licensed station. I don't really know where William Kelly is working. He's so how it works at City Hall is you have to go to the police department, get fingerprinted. They do a background check on you, but you have to work. You can't be a blogger.
He works for Newsmax.
You can't. It's very tricky how they decide who gets a press pass and who does not. So the fact that he had one.
Yeah, he works for Newsmax.
Surprising.
Though.
Oh, he does?
Mm-hmm.
Full time, part time?
He's been with Newsmax for quite some time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. With more on this and other topics, let's welcome back to the program Alderman Ray Lopez. Good morning, Alderman. How are you?
Top of the morning to all of you this great St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, that's
Hey,
right.
Alderman.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. What are you going to do to celebrate?
Well, I'm going to be at Gibson's with our future mayor, Paul Vallas, this morning. I'll be at the Village Inn in Canaryville celebrating with my residents later today. So it's a fun-filled day all around.
All right. So any new endorsements for Paul Vallas today that you can give us a little sneak peek on?
He's had a great week when it comes to garnering the endorsements. He's gotten, I think about a dozen of the aldermen and some other elected officials. I don't know if there are any Irish surprises today. I know that it's great to see at least one candidate trying to go beyond their base and bring in as many people into the fold as possible. All we continue to see out of Brendan Johnson is more teachers and teachers groups and teacher affiliates endorsing him, whereas Paul Vallas has gotten the police, the fire, and all of the aldermen from the Southwest, Northwest, Southwest, downtown, and everywhere else in between coming on board for him. So
That's great. And then, did you watch last night's debate by any chance? I mean, there's so many, and I don't know how many more there are going to be before this runoff election. But basically, it was about Brandon Johnson wanting to house everybody.
The fact that we are debating whether or not housing is a human right, it tells you why we cannot rely upon the vestiges of the past.
So is housing a human right, Alderman Lopez?
everything's a human right with this group, as long as somebody else is paying.
Right.
We see this time and time again, where as long as it's other people's money, we should be providing everything for everyone at every point in their life. And I don't know when we became a society of enablers, a society that has no will to work, to earn a living, and to excel in life. We absolutely should help individuals when they are at a low point, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you turn your back on those who are housing providers, that you demonize landlords as just being capitalistic pigs trying to take advantage of a human need. That's outrageous, and that's the kind of mindless pandering that has been the hallmark of Brendan Johnson's campaign, whether it's housing, whether it's water, and especially when it comes to race relations in the city of Chicago.
Right. Alderman Lopez, I made a comment earlier about how when the Chicago superintendent is confirmed and appointed, that they kind of lose a lot of their autonomy because, especially from the mayor, because the mayor pretty much dictates how the vision is going to go with policing. And I don't think people really understand with this new superintendent that's going to be picked. I believe you guys got 30 days to do it. How important it is to understand for the voters of Chicago of Vallas picking this new superintendent and you guys confirming it, or Brandon Johnson picking this new woke superintendent who will, I believe, will double down on everything that Lori Lightfoot intended to do to the policing department. How important is it for the voters to understand that choice in picking the new superintendent?
We have seen the damage a bad superintendent can inflict upon our city when coupled with a delusional mayor. We've seen that act already play out in Chicago, and it gave us all of the increased crime stats that we've seen over the last 4 years. Understanding, yes, we have been in a pandemic, as Lori Lightfoot likes to point out every single time she speaks, but there were also things that we could have done ourselves.
Right.
We have changed the pursuit policies both on foot and in car. We've willingly accepted the higher threshold for felonies from $1,000 to $10,000, and the list goes on. And that's even before we get to the deployments in our communities, where we've allowed the superintendent to create a citywide team to protect the bean while depriving neighborhoods of their beat officers on a daily basis, sometimes as much as 50% reductions in districts all across the city. What we have to remember, though, is that Brendan Johnson recently stood with 36 newly elected police district council members. 36 who are going to be responsible for coming together to pick the group that picks the finalists for superintendent. 36 of those individuals, 32 out of 66, are avowed police defunders.
Wow.
In certain cases, they are avowed police abolitionists.
Yeah. Okay, this police council, I really studied the candidates that were running in my district. I'm the 19th district. Can the new mayor abolish that? Because it is just absolutely stupid that we're having people who know nothing, who've never been to a crime scene, know nothing about the crime stats, are going to be in that kind of a position of power.
The point of these positions and the point of this commission was to give the community an opportunity to participate and to make sure that they had a direct connection, a direct link with the police department and the community. But what we have seen is it's already been turned over to the agenda-driven narrative politics that has failed us in so many other areas. Additionally, even though we were trying to give an opportunity for the community, nearly 1/3 of the positions were vacant because people were not interested in participating. Right. So I don't know how much of a success we're going to call this experiment, but I would be quick to remind anyone in that position and anyone who supported this position, coming from someone who voted to make it happen, that if this experiment fails, this is just a change in the law to eliminate this whole setup once again. So they better not overplay their hand thinking that they've become something that they're not, without thinking that there will be ramifications in the future.
All right, so Illinois is broke, Cook County is broke, Chicago is broke. Yet Alderman Gilbert Villegas has a new proposal that, maybe our days of shoveling sidewalks may end in Chicago.
Yes, this is one that truly perplexes me, and I know Gil's heart is in the right place, but I don't know why able-bodied people can't shovel their own damn sidewalks.
You're right.
I love it.
I mean, it's not as if we have suburban driveways where you have to, we have unattached garages, but still, we don't have to. Don't plow the alley. That's the only thing you have to shovel: snow off your steps and in front of your sidewalk. And if you're nice, you do your neighbors.
So, Amy and John, let me explain how clearing a street takes so long. And we hear constant complaints all the time in neighborhoods.
Yep.
You have two different programs. You have the main streets and you have residential, which means you don't, for streets and sanitation, we don't clear the inner streets, the residential streets, until it stops snowing. And we are confident that the main streets, the big streets, are 100% clear. That's probably going to impact our ability to get to the sidewalks as well.
Right.
Now, if we have to dispatch 700, 1,000 people across the city of Chicago to go shovel people's snow because Gen Zers are too lazy to grab a shovel.
Oh, trust me.
I don't know.
Yes, it's true.
The snow will have melted by the time we get to that point.
Oh my! I mean, this could cost $750,000.
No, I mean
More
that's
than
maybe
that?
for like one ward.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
That would not cover the cover the entire city. Because don't forget, you're talking about going block to block in wards where you have. I have 290 blocks in my ward.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Even if
well,
I
you're going
did
to
it
shovel it
24
yourself,
hours
right?
straight. Well, you know what, Amy? I do shovel.
I know. I do too.
I think that's where the problem lies, is that we have to focus maybe on shoveling out our seniors or people with disabilities or
I
special
help
needs.
out. Yep.
100% agree. Maybe the city should look at doing something for that.
Yeah, but
Got it.
You know, I grew up.
But to do someone because they don't want to go outside and shovel the 25 feet in front of their house, give me a break.
I grew up in Chicago. I was a hustler. You know how I made a lot of money during the
he stole
winter?
campaign signs.
I did.
He did. He grew up at 87th and Halsted?
Yeah, 21st Ward.
Yeah.
But I was also in the 6th Ward, 8th Ward. I was all in those wards too. But I made, you know how much money I made as a kid shoveling snow? Does that take away that kid who's out there trying to hustle, get money, and not where this kid isn't out robbing or beating up somebody? I mean, I believe that takes away from that aspect as well. Correct, Alderman?
Well, John, I can't remember the last time I actually seen a kid knock on my door asking if they could shovel for me.
I still have it out in my
because I think we have pushed, especially in certain areas where this narrative of it's not my fault, give me everything has taken hold. You know, we've seen where that will to be a young entrepreneur, that desire to make some money and hustle, as you say, is just not existent anymore.
Mm.
Wow. Well, whenever I have a kid come to my house to shovel, I go do this. Yeah. I'll give you $10 for the back. So, all right. Well, Alderman Lopez, thank you so much for coming on, especially last minute there. We really appreciate it. I always love your insight. And were you there, by the way, in City Council when William Kelly said those words to Mayor Lightfoot?
I did, actually. It was quite interesting, and I think that the way that the city handles out those press passes, I know you were talking about it before I got on.
It's got to
needs to change.
Yeah.
CPD has no reason to run the background check on reporters, and additionally, media has changed.
Are you
right?
kidding?
Exactly.
Media anymore.
No, I told you they fingerprint you, they talk to you, they take your picture.
What happened to the free press?
Oh, there's no free press. Were you just waking up to that, John?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but you're
right.
Are you
new here?
No, you're right. Media has changed where there are bloggers that get more hits and more, attention than local news right now. So maybe the new mayor will work on that.
I think there was quite an interesting meeting when it came, but not only to Mr. Kelly, the discussion about the asylum seekers and $20 million after the fact to pay for what Lori Lightfoot was doing with them, as well as a lot of procedural stuff with outgoing council members trying to maintain their grip on their patronage power by creating 28 new committees in city council. Thinking that they're like Oprah Winfrey, you get a chairmanship, you get a chairmanship.
You get a
all paid for by the taxpayers using the vacancies in departments like the police department, just so that they could get an extra $5 million behind them.
Wow.
All right. Well, always a pleasure having you on the show. Enjoy your time this morning at Gibson's with Paul Vallas.
And run for mayor one day.
Yeah. He will again. He's not going anywhere. I can tell you that. Alderman Lopez, thank you so much. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.